This is Alissa.
And this is Caroline. Welcome to Med Surg Moments, the AMSN podcast.
This podcast is an engaging look at the lives of and surrounding medical surgical nurses.
We are proud medical surgical nurses just like you, sharing our stories, insights, and experiences to support you in your nursing journey. Unfortunately, Chelsea and Evie weren't able to join us today, so it's Alissa and I.
What's new, Caroline?
Well, actually in Florida today, it hasn't made 50 degrees. This is big news in Florida. It's freezing.
That would be big news. I remember taking my family on a Christmas trip to Florida one year, and we were so excited because it was in the low 70s, high 60s.
Yeah.
My children were swimming and all the locals were like wearing jackets and looking at us like we were nuts. So yeah. I got you.
We have our winter, but it just lasts for 24 hours. But everyone was feverishly covering their plants last night for fear of the frost killing them. But anyway, there you go. Apart from the weather, not too much coming off of that Thanksgiving celebration, albeit modified, and prepping for holidays 2020, looking a little differently and feeling a little differently than before.
Definitely. Throwing a lot of things kind of up in the air, right? Because we don't really know what kind of modifications we're going to have to make for Christmas. Is it going to be the same as Thanksgiving? Are we going to be allowed to gather or not gather, or gather in groups of 10 or less, or right? Don't really know.
Yeah. For those of you that were able to listen to our previous episode, we just have to reiterate, stay positive and know that you are supported, and
absolutely,
thank goodness for technology that can bring us together in ways that we didn't even think. And take care of yourself, which is really important and something that we're very bad at as nurses. And so that leads us into today's topic, which is really important for every single one of us, talking about routines, rituals, but most importantly, self-care. To get us started, I recently caught up with plant therapy certified aromatherapist Emilee Hughes to talk about nursing self-care, and here's what I learned. I am here with Emilee Hughes, a certified aromatherapist with plant therapy, who's going to help us learn how essential oils can contribute to nursing wellness. Also, just in time for the holidays, we have an exciting gift to announce for our Med Surg Moments listeners and our AMSN members, but we'll save that big news till the end. Good morning, Emilee. Welcome to Med Surg Moments. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. We're very excited to hear all about this. I'm not sure if you're aware, 2020 was deemed the year of the nurse. And then, of course, the little pandemic came along the way. So a lot of people are really pushed to the limit. They're stressed. They are really needing some respite from this crazy year. How can essential oils contribute to and elevate our personal well-being?
Well, I think it's important to understand the powerful impact that scent has on us. I think we all have those few scents that instantly transport us to a fond memory, maybe making cookies with grandma, or instantly in a good mood. And that's because of the way scents work in our bodies. So when you inhale something, it first transfers through the olfactory bulb, and then it has a direct impact on the limbic system, where new memories are formed and where emotions are really housed. So you can start to see how scents in general can have such a strong impact on our emotions. With essential oils, they contain several constituents that really help to provide those therapeutic effects beyond just smelling good. So essential oils, when you inhale them, they actually have the capacity to cross the blood-brain barrier and transfer through your system. So what you see happen is that essential oils have really therapeutic chemical reactions within the body.
Yeah, you mentioned some words there that some of our nurse listeners will obviously relate to, the olfactory nerve and the blood-brain barrier for sure. I know whenever I smell lavender, it reminds me of my grandma. she used anything and everything lavender. So I understand what you said about making a connection and a memory. And that's really can be very heartwarming for sure.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about plant therapy. I shared with our listeners that you are a certified aromatherapist with plant therapy. Expand on that a little bit for our listeners.
Yeah, Plant Therapy is an essential oil company located in a little town, Twin Falls, Idaho. We're a family-owned company. Our core, we're a people-first company. It has always been our vision to have a positive impact on as many lives as possible. And we do that through providing education and safety information to our customers. That's always been something that's very important to us. We want to make sure that our customers are using essential oil safely. We also try to keep our prices as affordable as possible so everyone can benefit from the uses of essential oils. And then beyond that, we feel that it's our duty to have a positive impact on our community, whether that's through volunteer work or donations. So I think at the end of the day, it's really about leaving positive footprints in the lives that we touch.
How wonderful. That just sounds delightful. Putting people first, exactly what nurses do, and making a positive impact. Nurses do that as well. So we have a wonderful connection here. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about aromatherapy and what that's all about. So our time has arrived for the big news, and we want to extend our thanks and are very excited to announce that Plant Therapy has graciously donated 1,000 lavender essential oil rollers to you, our AMSN members, and our Med Surg Moments listeners. And to get yours, you will simply go to www.amsn.org, click on the publications link in the header menu, and then select Podcast Med Surg Moments. At the top of the Med Surg Moments homepage, you'll click on the link and provide your shipping information. So Emilee, on behalf of AMSN and our Med Surg Moments podcast audience, thank you for helping us along our pathway of wellness, and thanks to Plant Therapy for this very generous gift right here in the holiday season.
Thank you.
That is really awesome. I got to log on and get my free roller because
I know, right?
Heck yeah.
Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah. I'm like, lavender is great. Essential oils really do have a time and place, I think, for nursing self-care and even patient self-care. So I've definitely seen the essential oils come in and out of my bedside nursing. I remember when I was at the bedside, there was a nurse that I worked with that always had her little kit of essential oils. And if you're like, oh, my throat feels a little scratchy, she would be like, hold on. And she'd whip them out and be like, you need this on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
And
out came the bottle. Yeah.
And it was amazing. I mean, there's definitely something to it. You know, like, I want to say a science, but I don't know that there's a science behind it for sure because I've never read the literature. So I don't want to say that and be wrong.
I think there's growing evidence out there. Certainly. I remember several years ago now, I was involved with a nurse residency program before I moved down to Florida. And part of the residency was to do a piece of evidence-based work and do a poster presentation. And one of the nurses was a brand new graduate working in labor and delivery. And she looked at the benefits of essential oils in decreasing pain, the perception of pain in laboring moms. And I think overall that the reaction was positive, whether it's real or perceived, whether it's psychosomatic, but hey, you know, labor is painful, and anything that diminishes that pain is wonderful. And it certainly beats the smell of betadine or skin prep when you walk into a room that smells of something delightful like lavender. And I said to Emilee, as you heard, that whenever I smell lavender, I think about my grandma. So it brings pleasant memories to us as well. That feeling of comfort, which if this is the year where we need that, then if this is the way to do it, then absolutely. That's what we should do. Yeah.
The other thing with the essential oils, we used it with patients that like couldn't sleep, and we'd put like a little lavender on like a 2x2 and would put it on their pillow, or patients that were struggling to urinate. We'd use like a little 2x2 of peppermint and stick it in the hat. We had a nurse that swore by that, and she'd get patients who were having urinary retention to void. But I've also seen the other side of it, people who maybe would go a little extreme and they put essential oils in like a wound or an IV bag. So I think we have to be really careful with those.
Right.
But as long as we're looking at like the therapeutic effects of the aromatherapy, I mean, it's intended to be aromatherapy. So as long as we're looking at it like that, I think it's amazing. When we start kind of going a little bit bananas and IV bags and wound care, we need to start thinking about what we're doing with it.
I think it's important to incorporate aromatherapy into that medication reconciliation moment that everyone groans about. But as we ask our patients about prescription, non-prescription, what else are you using? I always used to say, what else are you using, legal or otherwise? And it gives that awkward laugh. But sometimes, a big bag of marijuana is pulled out, and it probably makes them feel really good. But we just cannot advocate for that in the inpatient setting right now, unless you're in a state where you can get a prescription for medical marijuana, I guess. But
even still, though, they don't want it in the inpatient setting. So we need to just lay it all out there on the table.
Other than aromatherapy, what else can we use to take care of each other during this crazy holiday season and the end of a even crazier year?
So when I was a bedside nurse and I was looking at my other nurses and seeing their stress or their chaos, some of the simplest things that you can do to help take care of each other is offer that helping hand, right? That seems really simple and basic. But if you're the kind of person where an act of service is a love language to you, having somebody offer to help you is a huge help. Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing that comes to mind the most quickly, right? If you're working and you need help, that's what you need. But there are other things like buying a nurse a cup of coffee, something very simple like that. Pens.
Pens. Who doesn't love a pen? Who doesn't love a pen?
Get a nurse a pen. Get her several pens. Get her a pen with multicolors, woo. So fun.
Yes. Yeah. And also the comfort of making sure that their routine sticks to that as much as possible. I know certainly when I was at the bedside, I had a specific flow in a morning. And if that didn't happen, the whole day just wouldn't flow. So I would get in and I would get my report. Obviously, I would pull my meds first, and then I would get my assessments done. And if there was something that interrupted that flow, it's very disconcerting sometimes because the whole day seems to fall apart from there. So I think being aware of that and helping nurses keep within their routine where possible certainly can help them for sure. So they feel that a good job has been done and everything flowed like it should do.
I think another way of taking care of a nurse is asking if they're okay and then not accepting yes as an answer. And I know that sounds funny.
Yeah, I know
we should take people's answers at face value, but I think the gut reaction is, I'm fine.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Actually not.
And they just have this tendency to, I'm fine. You're fine. Everything's fine. Everything, all my ducks are in a row. Don't move my ducks, and it's like, are you sure you're okay? Right. And so that kind of looking between the lines and really checking on each other, I think it's so important, especially with how chaotic this year has been and how it continues, right? We're looking at this second surge. The whole country is feeling it. The first surge, really, it was isolated in certain areas, but the second surge is everywhere. So are we okay? We're probably not.
No,
we're probably not okay.
It takes courage to say, I'm not okay.
It does.
But for someone hearing that message, it becomes very uncomfortable because everyone expects to hear, I'm fine, everything's fine. And so what can we offer our nurses out there? And I think just being present for one thing, being available, just to listen, just to be that shoulder. We might not have the answers, but just to feel like we're being heard is really important. Things that we take for granted at this time of year, like holiday gatherings and potlucks, can't do that anymore. So
the things that kind of made that unity on a nursing unit, right? The bringing the food and bringing that togetherness on a break. And all of that's gone right now.
So getting creative, like instead of a huge breakfast spread or luncheon, now we have to go to restaurants that will do individual portions for everyone. And it's kind of thinking outside the box to make sure that everyone's needs are met. I never met a nurse that didn't respond to food, but a huge breakfast casserole that everyone's dipping in, it's not going to happen this year. So we have to think about how we can make that better for our nurses so that they're still feeling good about the food, but being safe as well. So just being that support mechanism, I think, and that shoulder, embracing the small wins rather than the big losses that have occurred this year.
Absolutely.
It's so easy to get sucked into that negativity. We have to find something positive, at least once a shift. There's got to be something good that happened.
That's exactly where I was going to go next. So I did a pod with Chelsea, and when we were checking in together, I was really focused on kind of some inconveniences and negativity. And then she did her check-in, and it was all the silver linings, the growth that she's trying to focus on and all those kinds of things. And it kind of like a smack in the face for me, kind of like, right. Oh my gosh, like she is trying, like she's making this effort to focus on the silver lining. Right. And sometimes you don't realize that all you are feeling and all that's coming out of you is the negative things, the things that are irritating you, the bothering things. Right. And so if you can be that influence in your nursing team's life, if you can be that person that is focusing on the silver lining, even if you're not genuinely feeling it right that moment, but you can take pause and be like, hey man, I got to work on time and I'm wearing pants. So already it's a successful day. You know what I mean? Just find that silver lining.
Exactly.
Yep. Other people need it. Like I needed it that day. And I told her I needed it that day. I was so appreciative. So if you can be that influence for other people, I think that is so important that you can find that silver lining and be like, hey man, we're staffed today. Like we're already winning.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, life will never be the same. And if we get stuck in that negativity, it's just not healthy. And it drags everyone down with them. And so there's always something good, albeit small. There's always something good that happens in any given shift.
Absolutely.
You've made a difference in that patient's life, whether it be large or small. No one wants to be in the hospital. Certainly no one wants to be in the hospital now. And focusing on that positive, the wins is absolutely essential. It has to be.
It is so important. And the thing that I think we forget and take for granted, these patients that we take care of every day, this is a life-altering situation for them. This is our work. We come to work and do this every day. This patient will remember you. No matter how small or large your impact was, they'll remember you because they were here for 3 or 4 days. They only had a handful of nurses. Make that positive impact because you are impacting their life. You are a part of their story now.
Yeah, even more so now. We always advocate for our patients, but we always look to family members and friends to help with that as well. And of course, for many, many facilities across the country, for a good while, no visitors were even allowed. And so imagine being COVID positive in an isolation room with no one that you are comfortable with. That's something for a nurse or a caregiver to focus on because they're that person and they should feel really good and privileged about being able to be in that position and support that patient even more in this very stressful situation. So I think that's something positive to hold on to as well.
Absolutely. Finding that silver lining, so important, so difficult right now. But if you can be that person.
and I truly think that silver lining is going to be in the way or in the form of a vaccination. That's just my personal opinion, but I think that's the only way we're really going to get a handle on this.
It's actually a really good way to put it, struggling but supported. I think that support comes in a lot of different forms, right? So we have the support like, here are the supplies that you need to do your job, and the support of working on the staffing, and we're working on the redeployment training, and like we're doing what we can as an organization for that frontline staff.
Yeah, everyone has to feel confident, obviously, and comfortable in getting a vaccine, and it is one of those hot topics.
Yeah,
there are a certain population out there that don't agree with vaccinations,
right?
And If they've had children, of course, they've gone all through this. We're trying to register their children in schools.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think we have to trust the science. And as a nurse, hopefully our listeners will think about that. Trust the science. Yes, it's quick. Yes, it's quicker than it ordinarily would have been. But this is a global pandemic. And so the scientists need to step up and trust the method and hope that it works out and there are no adverse effects from this. And I really don't think the FDA would have approved it so rapidly had they not had enough data on board to support that, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, at this time of year, right before Christmas, we want to make sure that we are taking really good care of each other and our nursing staff. So other things that we could do, I think, that are super important is giving them the gift of time. They don't have time right now. They don't have space and they don't have that decompression. So if you are in a position to give nurses the gift of time, please do. If you are in that position, I remember discussing with our Sunshine Committee. I'm on the Sunshine Committee here at work for my education department. And we were trying to talk about the holiday party and we can't get together and we can't bring food. And I finally just told them, I'm like, you know what we really want is the gift of time. And if you're in a position to give us all the gift of time, that would be so appreciated. So if you're in a position to give nurses the gift of time, please do.
And several organizations or corporations over the course of the year have stepped up to offer significant discounts on items and goods. Just this morning, I was reading that Starbucks are giving free coffee to anyone who identifies themselves as a frontline caregiver. It's the little things like that that just make nurses realize, or should make nurses realize, that whether you're a caregiver or not, people realize the domino effect of this and how impactful this whole year has been to our nurses on the front line and what effect that has on that patient, their family, their friends, their workplace. Everything that would be normally done at this time of the year is now off the books. And so just little things like a cup of coffee here or a free meal there, it just makes the nurses remember that everyone is so truly thankful for what you've all done this year. No question about it.
Absolutely. And all of those things that were being done right in the beginning in March and April, and healthcare heroes and feeding them and all of those meals, and a lot of that kind of tapered off.
Yeah.
But we could definitely use that back, right? Because the exhaustion of what they've been doing, they have been sustaining for 9 months now. So they're still healthcare heroes. They still need support. They still need the love from their community.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it feels like there's a little bit of an opposite going on. I don't know if you've had those kinds of issues in your state, but we've definitely had some of those negative reports going out of people accusing the media of heightening or hyping the numbers because nurses and doctors get benefit or get paid more for taking care of COVID patients. I have no idea where that came from. I mean,
I think regardless of what you see on the news or read, as a frontline healthcare worker, you're seeing it for real. You know it's not made up. You know it's not a conspiracy.
And no one's paying you more. The government's not paying you to take care of COVID patients. It turns out you're getting paid what you were last year to take care of a patient, whether they have COVID or not. So it's really disheartening to feel this turn, I think, from healthcare hero to like conspiracy theory.
As a nurse leader, I've had to get creative in thinking how I can support my team. Saying thank you and thank you and thank you sometimes wears a little bit thin, but actually taking a moment to be intentional and write something down. We live in a technological world, which has saved us in many ways this year. Email has overtaken our lives, but there's true value, I think, in something like a handwritten thank you note. It doesn't have to be 4 pages long, but just something that you took a moment to get a pen and a piece of paper or a note card out and give that to your staff. I still find that very impactful, and a lot of team members appreciate that.
Oh, it really does. I completely agree with that. I had an office mate who was really great at writing thank you cards and really good at expressing her appreciation through the thank you card. And I never realized how much having a handwritten note was meaningful and appreciated until she started doing that. And since then, I try to do that same thing. I try to give a handwritten card whenever I can. So I completely agree with that. And that was something that we had tried to do on our unit when I was a unit educator, was provide that opportunity, usually around Thanksgiving, put all the thank you cards out on a table and say, hey, man, give thanks to your coworkers. Here's your opportunity to share your gratitude for the people that you work with.
And also as a leader, I think just being present, especially if you're a hospital leader. Don't sit behind that desk all day. Don't close that door. Be out there, be visible, and be willing to step up and help.
Absolutely.
So for nurse leaders that are listening, remember that can be so impactful and just make your nurse's day so much better just by offering a hand as well.
As a frontline nurse, you really don't want to be asked to do things that your leadership team is not willing to do. So I think that's a great point that you make, Caroline. It makes it more difficult for the frontline staff to execute the plan if you don't feel like your leadership team would do what you're being asked to do. So absolutely. Be present, be available, be visible, and be willing.
And once again, we are truly all in this together, and we will get through it. It won't last forever. And we will look back and say, phew, now what? Because after this, there's really not much else that can be thrown in the path of a frontline nurse and them not be able to manage it, not be able to cope with this.
You better knock on wood. You better knock on wood.
No, I said it. It's like saying the shift is quiet, nothing's going on. Yeah, that's
I know.
Not the thing to say.
That was some crazy jinxing you just did.
But it makes us laugh, and that's the other thing. Humor is also a good way of getting through this. Those of you that were able to attend any of the AMSN convention this year online, if you weren't able to listen to Georgie Carroll, the English nurse who now lives in Australia, look her up. Georgie Carroll and Nurse Blake, of course.
Yes.
Who cannot relate to Nurse Blake? I mean, seriously, if you want a good belly laugh, Google them both. They just put so many things into perspective that you sit back and you think, yeah, I was that person. I know exactly how you feel. Laughter is truly the best medicine, especially in these crazy times as we wrap the year up and try so hard to focus on all the wonderful things that have happened, even in the wake of something wild like COVID-19.
Yes. And again, looking for that silver lining at the end of the year as we reflect back on what COVID-19 has done, I think about how amazing all of these frontline nurses are to fight something that has been unknown, to work to the best of their abilities to take care of these patients and rise to the occasion. And the nurses are just amazing and incredible. And so going out there and fighting something completely new and caring for these patients and doing it with compassion and skill, continuing to fight the fight. With new information coming out every day and new processes and protocols coming out every day, these nurses continue to show up and do the right thing and take care of their patients. I think it's amazing. So in looking for that silver lining, these nurses, my hat's off to them. They are doing so great. And then when you look at these new graduates that have come out into the workforce during this last year, and the ones that are looking toward coming out into the workforce shortly, right? Graduating in the next couple of weeks, the people who are still in it, right? To win it. I have mad respect for these people because this is a really trying time to enter the workforce as a nurse, but it's full speed ahead. They're coming in. They want to help. They want to learn. And we're all learning together.
The message to leave with here is know that you're supported. Know that we are all thankful for our frontline medical surgical nurses. We will endure. We will get through this. Mm-hmm. And we wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season. And never more is that true this year than it has been in previous years, for sure.
Absolutely. And continue to take care of each other and yourselves.
Yes.
We have to be in this together to support ourselves, to support each other.
Yep.
It's the only way that we're going to make it through. We look forward to connecting with you on our next episode of Med Surg Moments, the AMSN podcast. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. Send us your questions, topic ideas, and feedback via our official Med Surg Moments email address, amsnpod@amsn.org. That's amsnpod@amsn.org.
We'd also like to remind you to become a member of AMSN or renew your membership at www.amsn.org. You'll receive lots of cool benefits and perks, such as discounted pricing on the annual convention and continuing education.
We encourage you to help us spread the word and subscribe to Med Surg Moments podcast via your smartphone podcast app to receive notifications of future episodes. Please be sure to leave us a review and recommend Med Surg Moments wherever you get your podcasts to help us reach even more listeners.
We invite you to join the conversation by sharing your ideas and questions on AMSN's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter pages. And don't forget to add #MedSurgMoments to your post. Simply enter AMSN in the search field on any of these social media platforms to connect with us.
The content within the Med Surg Moments podcast represents the views, thoughts, and opinions of the co-hosts and may not necessarily reflect the views, thoughts, and opinions of the Academy of Medical Surgical Nurses.
Until next time, I'm Caroline.
I'm Alissa, and always remember, Med Surg Moments is a moment in our lives, a moment in our Med Surg careers that makes a huge difference.